Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this Sunday morning. And if I could get a sound check, that would be wonderful. I see people piling in already. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I tested the microphone, but you never know if it's going to work or not. Uh, I've got the fast internet going. I got the Starlink, so we shouldn't have a problem there unless it goes down. Wonderful. Thank you, Jamal. I appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to have actually some slides to show you today, so I will be sharing the screen. And so this is going to be a very important, presentation, as they all are. Like so many other people out there right now, they're trying to get information out as much as possible to help people understand what's going on. And most importantly, and this is the most important part, is to stay out of this fear mode and also to stop sort of becoming addicted to news and information. This is so big right now because we're all awakening collectively. We're all kind of like, okay, what's going to happen next? It's like watching a soap opera, you know? And so we're all waiting for the next shoe to drop, and we all know it. And so the deep state around the world knows it as well. Humanity's waking up at an incredible rate because of technology. And of course, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So we need to be very careful. If it doesn't resonate with us, you can't just avoid it, just move away from it. Okay. But the biggest thing is that we psychics, astrologers, remote viewers, people that are highly intuitive and sensitive. And believe me, there are millions of us out there because we're all intuitive. We're getting the same information. I've talked about this. We'll start in about 2 minutes. I talked about in 2008, 2009, these flashes that kept coming to me in broad daylight in the kitchen while I'm doing stuff and the information. And then I see collectively so many other people were getting the same information about a cosmic flash or extraterrestrial stuff. And this is all on the horizon. They're all possibilities in this realm of consciousness. If you understand how the universe works, it's all possibilities at all time. It's like this energy is constantly moving and shaking in these other realms of consciousness, but it's all happening simultaneously. Now, why do I say that? Not because I've studied it, I have extensively, but I've also had 4 experiences with, the magic mushrooms and the ayahuasca. And it was profound because I didn't do it for recreation. I did it for information. So I saw what reality really is. It's geometry, it's energy constantly moving. It's all possibilities. And that's how the universe works. And so we're beginning to understand that, especially when Pluto goes into Aquarius on November 19th. And for the next 19 years, all this information is going to start to become more mainstream. And we're going to see a lot of changes. And so, it's we're on the precipice of change. And the reason I call this one Entering the Abyss, there's several reasons for that. So I'm going to start this video, the presentation in exactly 30 seconds. But the reason I called it this is because 2 reasons. One, we're entering this weird period where anything is possible. And I've pointed it out from October to April of next year. We're in this weird dynamic, this weird place, astrologically, energetically, even the cosmic activity, the sun, all of this stuff is acting up. So we're going down this black hole and we're not sure how we're going to, how it's going to play itself out. But the other reason I call it the abyss is because we're going through Scorpio season. The sun is about to go into Scorpio season. So this Scorpio is the sign of the abyss. It's the darkness. It's the deep psychological side of life. And so many of us are, wondering what the hell's going to happen. So let me start this presentation. I've got a bunch of slides. I'm going to run right through them. Some of it is about news that's going on. I'll show you just a little bit of astrology. And if we have time at the end, I'll take some questions. Remember, I always have a Zoom call every Sunday with my community. So consider joining the inner circle. So many people have, and I'm grateful for that. And so there's a link down below in the bio for the inner circle. And so there I talk much more openly. Here I have to be careful what I say. And then, there's all kinds of astrology, there's lessons and so on. But anyway, and I go into people's charts as well. So I help people with their charts. So consider joining the inner circle. Left the link down below. Okay, so let's go into this. I want to share my screen And we're going to, let's see here, share screen, Chrome, entire screen. Hold on one second. I'm just talking out loud so I could, here we go, share screen. All right. Hopefully everyone could see this. All right. So I'm just going to keep going along as if everyone could see this. So let me start the slideshow here and give you an idea of what's going on. Okay, so we know there's a lot of talk right now about war and Iran, Russia, Israel. I mean, it's the whole 9 yards, and rightly so, because Mars is approaching an opposition to Pluto. So that's always conflict. And so these guys are actually in line with what's going on. So also, AJ here posted this yesterday, and Chinese president warns military to prepare for war. So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff we're seeing because remember, in order to control the masses, to divert attention from what's really going on, which is a financial transformation or a reset, as Mr. Klaus Schwab has pointed out so many times, that's what they really want. So what we're looking at right now is not just conflict. We're looking at either a cleanup operation taking place by the so-called white hats, and I say so-called because nobody could confirm it. Everyone's tight-lipped about any of that stuff. We just get dribs and drabs. Or they're going to cause as much chaos as possible to crash the economic system, especially the dollar here in the United States, so they could say, "Oh well, we need a new currency. Here it is. Here, here's our cryptocurrency, or here is our CBDC that we need you to focus on." And so this is part of what the dynamics that are going on right now. Even W7, and by the way, I don't have any links for this, so please, when you watch this again, take a screenshot or just input this information in the Google search or in YouTube, and you will get the video. W7 has been doing a great job for several years about what's going on, and he talks about Russia issuing a warning against planned strikes against Iran. This was a few days ago, so you could watch that video. And of course, Mr. Netanyahu basically has approved all kinds of stuff on Iran. So we're looking at, conflict, but that's being orchestrated, absolutely orchestrated. They know this timeline. They know the astrology. They use it to their advantage to scare people and to cause chaos. This is what they do. We also have the election show that's about to maybe take place. And I've said that we may not have it. I mean, I know we're only a couple of weeks away, but something may happen, or there is, a power outage or some event or something that delays it, or there's going to be a lot of shenanigans with this election. So it's going to be one hell of a crap show. Let's put it that way. Okay. So we have that going on. Now we also have the alignments of these outer planets that are still, so far out from the sun that are pulling on the magnetic field of the Earth and the sun. So we are in this danger zone, and I don't mean to try and scare everyone. It just means more powerful flares coming towards the Earth that can cause radio blackouts and so on and so forth. Now, nothing happened on the 14th when we had that Uranus, Earth alignment. There was cosmic activity, no doubt about it, but it's been quieter than expected. So I'll be the first person to say, well, okay, nothing major, no major events took place. I think the events took place beforehand, like the hurricane, that hit North Carolina and Georgia and up the coast there. And that happened on the 27th. So fortunately, we haven't seen anything yet. And I'm grateful for that, like everyone else. But again, the energy's been very high. It's been very draining. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a heavy energy, and I've been feeling it. I'm sure many of you have been feeling it. So, but this alignment is still in the mix. These four outer planets still there, kind of pulling. So this is still in the mix. Now, is a solar flash going to happen? Remember, I said between now and April the 24th, we've had many solar flashes, intense ones, X flares, which are very powerful. There could be one that's off the charts. That is still a possibility. I hope it doesn't happen, but given what we see here, we have to see that as a possibility. Even remote viewers have been seeing this. So we all can't be crazy. We all can't be picking up on something, and collectively we're all picking up on it. So we'll have to see, collectively, if we kind of, again, send out positive energy and, kind of surround the planet with an energy field that doesn't get hurt, damaged, we can make a difference, with prayer or meditation, with no begging. You just have to envision it. Okay. So there is that possibility. We're in that danger zone until March because the astrology is indicating it for me. And, I picked up this a couple of years ago. My spidey senses were picking up the end of 2024 into 2025 was going to be a significant time. And we're going to continue to see it, especially in the United States. Okay, so there's been some things that have been going on, like the asteroid. So the asteroid has been visible here in Arizona, and I've had people send me pictures. And here's one primarily, and you could see this thing in broad daylight. So it's definitely there. But there's another one that came into the picture. Stefan Burns also pointed out there is another one that's coming in that's going around the sun. So why is this important? Because when these things come in, they affect the magnetic field of the sun, but they also affect the earth. There it is right there. So if this is coming in and pulling on one side, it can pull some flares out. It can cause issues. You see, everything is energy. And so this is very important to just keep an eye on it. Stefan has done a great job of keeping us updated with the actual science behind all of this stuff. Okay, so I left the link. Excuse me, not a link, but here is his the storm, and you could just find his channel, Stefan Burns. Now, there's something else going on that I've got to bring out. Mr. MBB has been doing a great job over the years of finding strange anomalies that are going on, and he's a computer specialist in graphics and design and stuff. So he knows computers very well. He knows fake videos, and he's talked about that. So here's another one, something you may not know about the DC crash. He had this video, and you could watch it yourself. This was happening early in the morning of this object or two objects. We don't know what the hell they are, but they appear to have gone down in the DC area. So again, that's not an asteroid, and that's not a plane. Maybe it's one of our sneaky government's aircraft. I don't know. It's very possible. But remember, I said there were going to be a lot of UFO activity. So many people are picking up on that as well. So check out Mr. BBB 333. He also had another video here. Major blackout consumes entire country. This one was very big too, because the country that got all its power knocked out was Cuba. So you could see what I'm talking about. Now, yes, I realize Cuba may not have the most modern infrastructure and redundant backup systems, but their whole grid system went down. It came back up, and then it went down again. So, but this affected them. And he's suggesting that because of the asteroid affecting the magnetic fields, that it might have affected Cuba. We'll see. Again, all we can do is speculate and see if anything makes sense. Also, NASA and NOAA announced the sun has reached the solar maximum period. Now, I talked about this a while back, that the peak of this solar maximum was going to be in July of 2025. I talked about that about maybe, almost a year ago. I said that, we're going to see this energy increasing. So this is why also we're going down the abyss of this energy that appears to be right on track for major change or events, or something that's going to shift the magnetic fields of the earth, or maybe even help us become more aware and give us more ability to see things. More light increases in the body. We know it affects the cells. It makes us feel better. We feel more intuitive. The pituitary gland, the pineal gland, everything gets energized when we have more energy coming in, more sunlight. Okay, this is very important. Vitamin E, vitamin D, these are things that help us in the body when we become more psychic as well. So this is one of the reasons why I believe that the powers that shouldn't be, or the powers that were, are trying to slow things down with humanity. They don't want humanity to wake up and start becoming more intuitive and seeing through bullshit, and then they lose control. So this is what I'm seeing here. Okay, so they're making announcements here on spaceweather.com. Now, here is a fabulous video if you want to catch up. Now, I've talked about Redacted for many videos. They are a fantastic husband and wife team that does a great job. And I'm sure they have some good guys in the alphabet agencies that are helping them. Okay, so take everything with a grain of salt. But this video is a must watch. Okay, this is another whistleblower that comes out on this HAARP nonsense that's set in the South Pole. Now, if you've been following my videos, I like Into Thin Air. This young guy just came out of nowhere and started putting up videos about weird, strange anomalies happening in the weather. And now we have a so-called whistleblower coming out and saying, yes, I work down there. Yes, they're manipulating the weather. Yes, there's all kinds of strange stuff going on. So please check it out for yourself. Go to Redacted. Here's the title and listen to it for yourself. It's only 15 minutes. Well worth listening to. Now, these two men here, this is retired Colonel Douglas McGregor and, of course, Dane Wingington, who's done a fabulous job on his website, geoengineering.org, I believe it is. He's on InfoWars here. And they're having a conversation, and he's basically saying, yes, throughout my, whatever it is, 10 years of studying the science and studying all of this, he basically says there's weather modification. And by the way, for those new here to the channel, I've been a deep researcher or truther my whole life. I've always wanted to know how things work. And so when you dive into this rabbit hole, you go, oh, weather modification, that's crazy. But they have patents on it. Many of the space agencies have patents on it. They've admitted in conferences that they geoengineer. They call it geoengineering the weather, cloud seeding. This has all been, it's come out. And now we're seeing the bigger picture of how they're manipulating the weather. So this is very important as we go down the rabbit hole, as we go down the abyss of discovering all this. Okay, so this is a very important one. Again, you could go to InfoWars and put this title in there and you'll find it. It's on October 8th. Very good interview. I highly suggest it. We also have, now this is something I need to talk about because very important. I saw this on USA Today, when it's the 15th. They're saying there were 300 lives killed in Helene. That is total BS. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, there's two reasons. One, I cannot find this video. This is a young girl that is talking about how she actually works in that area and how they had to have 10,000 body bags delivered. She said that that wasn't enough, that there were more bodies that kept finding. So there's 10,000 plus they've already found. And she goes, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not looking for attention. I work hands-on, boots on the ground. We are recovering bodies and so on and so forth. So friends, 10,000 plus. This is incredible. This is a big disaster that nobody is talking about. Now, the other reason is I have friends that are about 45 minutes away from that Asheville. And they have friends that live in that area or had friends that live in that area. They cannot get a hold of them. They have driven to that area and they have reported to me directly, Joe, the devastation, the smell, you would not believe it. Now, I've been through that area. Last year, I was through that area. I visited my friends, so I had to go through that area. Beautiful area. They said you wouldn't recognize it. It's totally devastated. There are body bags. There are all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a disaster, and nobody's talking about it. Mainstream media is not talking about it. So there is much more catastrophe that occurred here than anyone wants to talk about. And this is big news. This is probably the big event that occurred, in this time frame. And maybe there's still another one. I hope not. But this is such an important, story. And so they need a lot of help over there with supplies and so on. And so I got people there 45 minutes away that are going to this location to help out. And they're friends of mine. They're personal friends of mine. So this is not third-hand information. This is first-hand information. So there is, again, mainstream media is totally ignoring it and lying about it. Meanwhile, this corpse right here is, sending more money to this place right here. And this is being reported by Reuters, okay, which is basically the Rothschild wing of the news. So does this make any sense to anyone? I mean, are they doing this on purpose to piss people off? I just wonder about this. I know they're doing a psyop. There's an information war going on. And so when I see stories like this, I'm going, really? Oh, anyway, so, we know that there's orchestrated crime at the highest level of these organizations. So, and well, guess what else is going on here with this clown? He's the head of FEMA. This is the same guy that they've been drilling in Washington, and he can't remember anything. He can't talk about anything, but he's the same guy. What's his name? Mayororca. And that's heads up FEMA. And, at first, he felt the pressure because nothing was being done. And so it's just so weird how these coincidences are happening, you know? And so just some strange stuff that we're going to have to connect the dots with. So another weird stuff. Here's another story that I found, which is very eye-opening. The Pentagon wants to use AI to create deep fake internet users. No shit. I think it's already happening. Okay. I mean, a lot of the accounts on social media are AI driven. They're not even real people. They're using AI to create these, and then you could tell by the response that they give you to posts. That's how I noticed. And my spidey senses right away pick up on this is not a real person. This is not a real person, and so they're talking about this openly. You could see right here. I mean, this is a great story. You could again Google this title and see if you could come up. It's by Sam Biddle. Now, this is the big news that I got to get across to everyone. Okay, I got to be careful what I say here. This is all over the internet here. U.S. military now authorized to blank Americans on U.S. soil. They sneaky government passed some sort of initiative here that they're going to allow the military to actually use deadly force in case of events that occur. Are they preparing for something? Are they preparing for a civil war? Are they preparing for people to attack the government? Are they preparing for something? It sure looks that way, friends. Okay. And so here's one of the stories that you could Google, but there's other videos. Here's a YouTuber here. He does a great job of actually going through the actual document. Okay. If that's not good enough for you, you got an actual lawyer here, a real lawyer. And again, you could look at his armed scholar, goes through it from a legal standpoint about this order, about this document that came out about using deadly force, against Americans. So you could watch this guy talk about this stuff. And I did. I watched all these. I read the article, and it really looks pretty frightening. Like what the hell are they preparing for? Now, the other thing that is concerning here, and this is by the Reese report, some top Dems won't commit to certifying a blank win. Now, why is this? Because they would lose all their power, and many of them may even go to jail. So we're going to see, as I've been saying, as we go down this abyss, we're going to see all kinds of strange stuff continue to come up. And it's like they're preparing for something. They're preparing for something. And it's all right in front of you if you connect the dots. All right. Again, it's just information. It's just really interesting. It's like playing chess. I don't know how many of you play chess. I do play chess. You love the strategy of what's going to go happen here, what's going to happen there. But at the same time, everything is coming at us all at once. And so, we're entering, like I said, that weird danger zone. Here is, if you want to check out Greg Reese, just go to substack.com and put in Greg Reese. And here is the video he did. DOD authorizes lethal force against Americans. You'll want to check that out. Okay. Again, really good information. Now, let's go into the astrology for a little bit here, just for a few slides. On October 22nd, we have the sun squaring Pluto, another powerful alignment that indicates war and conflict. So China surrounding Taiwan, Israel and Iran and Russia and Lebanon and all these other countries, we could see an escalation just in the next couple of days as Mars continues to get closer and closer to the opposition to Pluto. Now, this is transiting Pluto, but it's also going to be in the United States because the United States has a Pluto at 27 degrees. So it's getting closer and closer to the United States and events in the United States. And right now, we're not seeing any major events. We're seeing small stuff like the illegals in major cities that are taking over apartment buildings or causing crime and so on. And I've read article after article of this. There's been 5 or 6 incidences in different cities where there have been major events that took place, but nobody's reporting on it. You have to rely on citizen journalists. But this Sun Pluto, again, is high intense energy that's coming in just in the next couple of days in this week. And this is why my inner circle is so important, because I do a weekly astrology overview for my members in the inner circle. So I talk about all this stuff more in depth. And so consider joining, link down below. Now, let's go into the sun entering Scorpio on the 22nd, happens later on in the day. And so Scorpio is the sign of the abyss. This is the sign that's the investigator. This is the sign that digs deep. This is the sign of the psychologist. This is the sign of the depth of the soul. And this is why I'm also calling, why I call this entering the abyss. So for the next 30 days, we are going to be like investigators. We're going to go deep down this rabbit hole and go, what the hell is down here? What the hell is going on? And we're going to discover things. And some of it's not pretty. And so if you're a newbie to this, yes, it's going to shock the hell out of you. If you're a veteran to conspiracies and research and truth, it won't affect you. But the one thing that I do see that's very alarming to me is that they're using AI to scrub the internet of real information. I mean, it's getting ridiculous now when you try and do a search, a Google search or something, you get all this garbage for pages until you get to something that's relevant to what you're searching. So someone or something is scrubbing the internet at an alarming rate. And I'm noticing that, and I do not like it. Even Cliff High has talked about it's getting harder and harder for his web bots to pick up information because the internet's being scrubbed. And so this is something to pay attention to. Remember, they don't want us to wake up, and they're using AI in order to do it. Here is another clown who, and I'm bringing him up because he's very deeply tied to the so-called elite. He's had all kinds of videos. He happens to be a Scorpio, so he'll be in the spotlight in the next 30 days as well. He's been arrested already. But this is a story that everyone should pay attention to. And again, the mainstream media is not covering any of it. And so we have to rely on ourselves and other YouTubers to get real information out. Again, take everything with a grain of salt, but we know he's just an awful person. And so even other actors are coming forward. Elijah Wood also comes out and is backing Corey Feldman about this one right here. Everyone thinks, oh, she's great. I've looked at her chart. I've talked about it in the inner circle of my community. And I said, this woman has got some darkness behind her. She may put on that face and she's happy and giving away shit, but there's darkness here. She's been indoctrinated, no doubt about it. And so we have another actor coming out saying, yes, this woman is not who she appears to be. Again, Google this title and you'll find the article. This one was really eye-opening, friends. Now, I'm a big fan of Future Forecasting Group. They've done a great job. And Dick Allgaier, now this was really interesting because he put this out. As soon as he put it out, it was like 20 minutes on Friday morning. And I watched the whole thing and then they took it down. And then they put up another version of it. So if you go into YouTube and you put this in there, you're not going to get this original version. I think they kept it for their private members. But Dick Allgaier actually broke down and was in tears because he said this remote viewing session was heart-wrenching. And I'm not going to read this here, but you could see what I'm talking about, that there are people auctioned off. This right here, we're being auctioned off, connected to this guy right here. Okay? So, I mean, and again, remote viewing is very interesting because I've done it and it does work. They're given a target. See the target number up here? They're just given this, nothing else. And Dick one is it's Dick Allgaier. That wasn't in there. But these are the numbers, the 4 letters and number, the 8 could be 8 letters and numbers. And you literally, after a period of time, you begin to see a pattern of something coming up. And he's a very good remote viewer. I give him that. All of them are. And so he saw this and he said something else that was very eye-opening that they took down. That one of the other remote viewers said that there was a room with people in it and they were going through the tapes that they got from this clown right here, that they were scrubbing everything off those tapes because the people that were on there were very powerful, that they were, the so-called elite, and they were on the tapes. Okay. So again, put 2 and 2 together and you see what I'm talking about here. Again, we have to be very careful because of the energy and the AI and everything else that they're monitoring right now. This is why we all have free communities and paid communities. Excuse me. I have both, but the inner circle private communities where a lot of the good information is on there. So anyway, this was another one. Also, while all this nonsense is going on, we see stores closing left and right. Walgreens is about to close 1,200 stores. And so, the economy's doing great. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a joke. Also, this kind of sneaky story that coming out of nowhere. Dutch bank to end lending to customers not aligned with this net zero. In other words, if you're doing some sort of business or some sort of, banking or something that your company is not in line with what they believe that they want, they're not going to do any business with you. And here's the whole article. You could stop it and read it for yourself. I'm not going to go through it. And so it basically says it's about that carbon garbage. Here it is, carbon footprint garbage, which is all nonsense. They know that the cosmic energy is changing. They've known about this since the 70s, I discovered. And they were going to use this to their advantage to cause chaos, to cause restriction, to cause people to follow orders. And again, this is all based on all these lies about the climate change and all. Yeah, it's changing, but the sun is causing it. Humanity is not causing it. The whole global warming nonsense. And it's these psychopath elites that are actually causing this devastation because they won't allow the real technology to come through. So we don't have to burn so-called fossil fuels or dig for oil or any of that crap. We have technology that go way beyond that, but they're the ones holding it back. But yet they're going to blame, the guy that has a pickup truck that's burning, or a dump truck or something that's burning more fuel and stuff like that and polluting. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's total BS. They're the ones causing it, and they're pointing at others, saying, "Oh, this is what we're going to do." Again, they're using it as a ploy to get what they want. Also, this interesting article. Somebody sent it to me. It wasn't an article. It was actually, I believe, on Instagram or TikTok. But this was from Watcher.guru. And this was quietly snuck in. The SEC approves New York Stock Exchange options trading on spot Bitcoin ETFs. So they're starting to recognize that Bitcoin can actually be traded on the markets. Gee, imagine that. So what does that suggest? That means that, again, some sort of digital currency is going to be coming into play, most likely with either Bitcoin or one of the other cryptocurrencies. And so, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do, but obviously, as I've been pointing out, and many others have, that they want to go away from the actual physical dollar to a digital currency because it's easier for them to control. So we're seeing a lot of that. Okay. And then this other story from the Epoch Times, the judge denies Trump request to delay releasing Smith's evidence. Imagine that right around the election time, they're going to have all kinds of shenanigans going on. And there is still that possibility they may arrest Trump. I mean, it's just so stupid. And here is the whole article. You could take a screenshot of this on the replay, and you could read it for yourself. This was on October 17th. And it's so interesting how, the court withhold information from the public otherwise. She basically says that, we can't withhold this because it would be election interference. Oh, my God, what nonsense. If there wasn't enough election interference already from the other side. But I mean, it's all a dog and pony show, friends. This is all being orchestrated to distract, to cause anger, to, cause frustration and so on, and to divide people. That's all it's doing. Anyway, this was a big story. This is coming out of the New York Post. Many, and I mean many border agents, and this is also from James O'Keefe and some of the other people that have gone down to the border, that have gone into Mexico and all these other places, that have actually talked to the border patrol officers and have said, if this woman is elected, they're retiring. They're not going to have any part of this because it's ridiculous. Now, I've watched many, like J.J. Corral, that's been on Redacted. He has done a fantastic job of actually giving you the numbers, because remember, he's a retired border patrol agent, 20 plus years, and he's been right there in the trenches. He says the numbers are north of 20 million people that have already come across just in the last, 3.5 years. North of 120 million. Okay. And this includes the ones that got away, the ones they can't account for. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so these are the real numbers. It's not, 1 or 2 million. No, it's 20 to 30 million. And so this is an invasion. And we know that, those of us that are paying attention. And again, they're being brought in on purpose to cause chaos, to go onto the system. I mean, this is what they're doing. They're doing it in Europe too. And this has been their ploy. And so this is a very important story to keep an eye on. Of course, we have the election coming up on November 5th. Now, I've said this before, and I'm going to reiterate it. Whoever wins, there will be chaos. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be negative, but think about that for a second. If this woman wins, the right's going to lose it, and they're going to know it's a bunch of BS. Because right now, the polls, and I don't give any credibility to the polls, this guy's leading by 10, 12 points, 14 points, or something like that. Okay? Even the left-leaning polls see him in a major lead in almost every state, especially the swing states. If they implement her or put her in power, the right is going to be screw the federal government. I don't want any part of it. They could go F themselves and so on and so forth, right? So we have this chaos going on. And God forbid, what kind of laws they're going to be passing and more restrictions, because they're basically tied into the deep state worldwide, the central banks around the world, the secret families, and also and so on and so forth. Now, Mr. T is also connected to other situations and people, but they're a little bit more about freedom. And, they want to make money. I understand that, but they're like, hey, let's at least rebuild. We'll make billions of dollars, but at least the people will have their freedom and they'll make money. They'll all be happy and we'll continue to do what we have to do. That's what I see. But if Mr. T wins, here's the problem. The first couple of months right after the election, let's say the election goes in Mr. T's favor, for the next couple of months until they inaugurate him and get him into office and certify him, we don't even know if he's going to be certified. They will continue to pass laws and executive orders to literally neutralize him as soon as he gets into office. So there's no easy way out of this. So no matter what, there's going to be chaos. There's going to be a big road to go up. And so even if Mr. T gets in, it's not going to be all peaches and cream, friends, for at least the next 6 months or so until, gets in there and sees what happens and how he could do things and how he could change things. Our lives won't be better, at least for 6 months. So this is why, again, we're going down this abyss, this deep tunnel of uncertainty. Okay. So no matter what happens here, there's going to be chaos. And I'm not wanting it. I don't, it's just going to be in the mix because of the astrology. I'm also showing the astrology behind this. And so I got to point out something here that was very interesting to me. I was speaking to a friend of mine and he watches a lot of the mediums and psychics and stuff like that. I don't really watch a lot of them, but he said the one guy, Bashar, now he's very popular online. They asked him a question about the election and he gave a response. And I want to share this with you guys because it was very profound. He said that if the woman wins, okay, it's actually beneficial for the country and for humanity, because now humanity must take responsibility and must step up. And if they want a better life, they must engage in the process of taking power back from the federal government and the people that control the federal government. Okay, great point. If the man wins, then it's like daddy taking care of everybody. It's like, oh, great. Yeah, he's going to take care of us. Everything's going to be great. Yeah, we don't have to do anything. Yeah, economy's going to come back. And people won't engage as much as they would under her. Very profound. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Everyone's looking to this man to save them. Everyone's looking to this man for hope. And I agree, he can make a bigger difference because he already has a proven track record. Okay. But if she gets in, people are really going to have to, everyone's going to have to really pay attention. Like, do we want this kind of control over us? This is a different type of control, but again, it was a very important point. I found it very interesting and enlightening. So maybe you guys, see the same thing. But I thought it was very interesting. Anyway, think about this for a second. And I posted this all over social media. It got a lot of attention. So if you believe conspiracy theories are crazy, believing that the people in power have your best interest at heart is far crazier. It's been proven all throughout time. This is not just something that we're living through right now. All throughout history, go back thousands of years, go back to the Roman era, go back to that time frame. It was all being controlled and they were all being orchestrated by the puppets behind the scenes, the oligarchy. No different than today, friends. Okay. The advantage now is we have computers and technology. At least we could exchange information a lot faster, even though some of that information is being distorted. All right. On the 28th, we have Venus squaring Pluto, another very tricky alignment that could could be possibly associated with the financial system or major news, or again, it could be conflict within politics or the government. So another time frame here that we need to keep an eye on. Again, we're going down this weird timeline where anything is possible, and Mars is now exactly opposing the United States. So there may be some more conflict in the United States around this. Could be anything from power grids, as you know, I said that. to a little bit of chaos, maybe election nonsense going on. That's all in the mix coming up right now, just in the next couple of weeks. All right. So if you enjoy what I'm doing here, consider joining my inner circle. I'm doing extended monthly horoscopes now, weekly astrology. I teach you astrology once or twice a month, and you could ask me all the questions you want in the Zoom calls on Sundays, which I'm going to do right after this presentation. And so I left the link down below. My moderators are standing by. So consider joining the inner circle. And then, of course, if you go to my website, astrologerjoe.com, get your free moon reading up here. You can click up there. And so here's the inner circle, and here's my free community. So I would highly suggest, if you really want to know more, especially in these next 6 months or so, I would say, friends, if you could join for the next 6 months. I think we have a special that if you join for the year, it's actually more beneficial because it's a cheaper price. So, check it out. Go to the website, astrologerjoe.com. and check it out. So let me escape from this screen right now and go back to the video. Let's see if it's coming up here. Hold on, guys. Okay. So we've got a few minutes, just a few minutes. I'll take a few calls. Questions from my moderators. And then, of course, I'm going to give people time to prepare to go on to, if they want to join the inner circle. So let me see if my moderators have questions. Let me look things over here. I look forward to it. Interesting. I'm just reading the astrology for 2026 indicates a reset. Absolutely. We're in that zone right now, friends. So we're going to see all of it. Let me see here. Will Mars in Cancer bring war? When it goes retrograde after December the 6th, it's very possible. I don't think it's going to be the United States, but again, I could be wrong. But Mars retrograde can cause chaos, can cause stupidity, and cause confusion. And it's going to be hovering right opposite the United States as Pluto. So it can cause war. But again, if those of us pay attention and we tell these criminal politicians and bankers, no, we don't want this garbage. F you. We're not participating in your fear anymore. They will eventually move away. Okay, so let's see. Susie, can you talk about October 23rd when there will be no planets between the sun and Earth? I just did. That has to do with that alignment. Again, it's a very volatile time. And so this is where we are right now. Anything is possible. Why is this the abyss? Because we're going into Scorpio season. This is going deep down into the subconscious. And the abyss is the unknown. It's this dark hole in space and time that we're going into, that anything is possible. So this is what I'm seeing here, friends. So this is why I called it the abyss. We are going down the abyss of the unknown. What astrological trends should be aware of in 2025 and 2026? Now, 2025, I already put out a video on it. Okay, it says the future of 2025. You might want to watch that. I'm going to come out with the astrology for 2025. 2026 looks a whole lot better, especially in the springtime, because the outer planets are making some very favorable alignments. It's these couple of years that we're having to go through this chaos, okay? And it's unfortunate, but this is how it has to happen. 2024 and 2025 is the major turning points. So we'll have to see how it plays itself out. But it's going to be the outer planets. 2025, we have 4 planets switching signs. That is huge in astrology, okay? Do you see anything happening to the King Charles in Australia? No, I do not, because I don't focus on Australia and King Charles. Is there anything you see in astrology on Noahide laws? No, I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry. There's only so many topics I could go down and research or go into. Right now, primarily is the United States, because of the astrology of the United States. It's so important right now because whatever happens here is going to trickle out into all these other countries. And so countries like Australia, England, Canada, New Zealand, you folks are going to have to step up. You're going to have to get rid of your criminal politicians, elect them out, put pressure on to, your so-called elected leaders, because they're bought and paid for. So you elect them out and go to the local meetings and so on and so forth. Power. How do different cultures interpret astrology events differently? Well, because there are different systems. Like the Chinese use the animals, and they do it on a 12-month basis. Vedic astrology uses sidereal, which is a totally different system, not that far off from Western astrology. So it doesn't really matter the instrument that you use if it resonates with you. Astrology is just understanding the cycles from how we could interpret it, you know? And so it's a symbolic language. It can be very accurate, but it also could be a little confusing. So different systems will show us different information. All right. So last question here: do you think the U.S. has a spiritual center associated with it that makes it the central of the world? Well, in a sense, it does. The United States was born under an Aquarius moon. If you understand Aquarius, Aquarius is about the future. It's about humanity. And so, as we enter Pluto into Aquarius, the spiritual center of the United States is going to become stronger. And I do believe it's going to be the Southwest, it's going to be the middle part of the country. Now, when we say spiritual, are we talking religious? Are we talking about sort of really understanding spirituality? So, the United States, not that it's anything special, but it has this vibration, it has this, need for freedom because of the moon in Aquarius. Moon in Aquarius has a lot to do with freedom. It has a lot to do with wanting, not to be restricted in any way. Okay, so this is why it's so important in the United States. And so, and the United States is going through its Pluto return. And then next year we have Uranus going back, Uranus return in Gemini. So huge things are happening in the United States. And whatever happens here, it's like inspiration for other countries to change. All right. Anyway, I'm going to end this here, guys. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of it. Check out the Inner Circle. I'm getting ready now to go on there. I'm going to be on there in about 12, 13 minutes. And consider joining. And I look forward to providing as much information as possible. We are definitely going down the rabbit hole now. And so there's no turning back. These next 6 months, it is very important to stay aware, awake, and out of fear, and just trying to connect the dots to what's going on. All right. So have a great Sunday, and I'll see many of you soon in the Inner Circle. All right. Link down below. Talk to you soon. Bye.